Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Jupiter's CROCK here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel, the show where we talk about ancient Roman television shows.
Until we decide not to, and we do a different show.
Until we decide not to, yes. My name is Matthew. You heard right there, Ronan.
Yes. We kept everyone here at the same table for a whole week because we don't record these back to back. That we kept everyone here at the same table, same lobby for a whole week. It was incredible.
I should have identified you as Cato. That's what I should have done. That was a failure on my part. And Plodicus himself, Steve.
Yeah, I'm here. Not only do we not record these back to back, but we only go all in at the end of a hand every other episode as part of a bit that we're doing.
Yes, exactly. It's a very specific bit. It's kind of an in-joke, but now you, listener, are part of that in-joke.
Listener. Good. So, last week we talked about episode 7, which was Farceless, which for all of us was probably the most disappointing episode of Rome for the fact that they didn't actually show the big battle that we all felt was very integral and important to see. So now we are rolling into episode 8, Caesarion. Now, there's only 12 episodes in the first season, so we are 3/4 of the way, right? To be or 7 or 3/4 of the way through.
Don't ask me to do math. Please don't ask me to do it.
And so we're going to talk about Caesarion. Now, good old Pompey, he landed in Egypt, so we all know what that means. If you know anything about history, we know that Cleopatra is about to enter the scene. And so I'm going to toss it over to Plodicus, and you're going to walk us through Caesarion.
I feel like there's not a whole hell of a lot to talk about in this episode.
There's one glorious moment.
It starts. I guess maybe like there's not a whole lot to talk about like back in Rome. Most of this episode takes place in Egypt. So back in Rome, though, Brutus shows up. I almost said Bruticus, which is not him. Brutus shows up and meets his mother Servilia, and he's like, "Hey, Mom, I'm home." And she gives him kind of like a halfway hug, like, "Oh, that's." Pat him on the back. Yeah, it's nice to see you. So like, there's
you lost. You're dead to me.
There's friction between Brutus and Servilia, which I think is bullshit because Servilia was all in on the same side that Brutus now finds himself on until she got screwed over during her affair. So Servilia, I don't think is justified whatsoever. Anyways, moving back to Egypt.
I think Servilia feels that way because remember she was doing like the weird curses and all of that stuff, and I think
made his cock shrivel.
She was like, my son is going to help lead to the destruction of Caesar, and he comes back and like, I lost. And so I think she's disappointed in him.
But if Caesar had kept throwing her a bone, she'd be like, "Oh, thank you, Brutus. I'm so happy that you saw the light." No, like Servilia is in the wrong here. Brutus did what he thought was right. Anyways, going back to
and her prophecy will come true later on.
So Caesar has made it to Egypt. He goes into the throne room to greet the Egyptian ruler, and it's
Pharaoh.
This little kid like Ptolemy the 13th, and I hate
fat
this
fucking kid.
I hate this little kid. God,
he's got a punchable face.
Super punchable.
Face. They cast him really well, though.
It'd be such a shame.
I don't blame the kid actor, but they cast.
He's not a kid anymore. It's totally fine to call this guy fat. It'd be such a shame if he ended up dead in a reed marshland somewhere. It'd be such a crying shame if that happened to him with his stupid little face and his fucking wig.
Anyways, Ptolemy the 13th is not excited to meet Caesar, nor is like anyone in the Egyptian royal court. I don't know the names of any of these characters aside from Cleopatra and Ptolemy, but one of Ptolemy's advisors is like, "Oh, Caesar, it's what a glorious thing to have you here with us. It would be more glorious if we knew what you wanted and when you are leaving." And
well, the historical background to this, Steve, is Egypt was always its own, basically, empire, kingdom, whatever, and they supplied pretty much all of the grain to Rome. So they were like trading partners, but Egypt was always panicked that Rome was going to take them over and they were going to lose their autonomy. So anytime Romans would show up on their shore, they would be naturally wary and not want anything to do with them. So
I'm
they're
done with
probably
this bullshit hand where everyone is just slowly raising in tiny increments. I'm just bailing. Continue.
I raised it.
Yeah, you raised it after like 3 other people raised it. Like, why?
I
Just
raised
fucking
it
call the
bigger.
bet. Just call the bet. Anyways, Matt, continue.
good.
Oh,
good
this
going.
cocksucker. This motherfucking Steve Seagal looking motherfucker.
Oh,
Gee
it's
Willikers,
almost like
guys.
Steve was right.
So yeah, that's why they want Caesar out, because
Fuck 'em.
they're concerned Caesar's going to basically send all of his legions. They're going to occupy Egypt and basically control Egypt, which is what they don't want.
Yeah, so the Egyptians don't want Caesar there, but Caesar's like, how are your war preparations? And I actually had a good hand. I was just so annoyed at how you all were betting. I might be very disappointed that I didn't get into this. What is this Captain Farquaad motherfucker over here? What is happening?
Okay, so all, like 3 of the aces
All right.
are. God damn it.
I had king
I
queen.
have an ace.
So if
I
there
had an
if
ace four.
kings show up, I'm going to be very disappointed. Okay,
There will
not
be no
helpful,
more
not
aces that
helpful,
show
not
up.
No, there
helpful.
can't be. There can't be. So the fuck.
Come on. I think I would have won this hand. I think I would have won this hand.
I had jacks and 4s is what I had.
I would have
So
I would have
ace.
had queens and jacks. What's the actual winning hand? I can't tell.
I had an okay
would've-
hand, but
no,
not.
I would have tied this guy. I would have tied this guy.
I had an okay hand, not well enough to have done what I did, but fuck it.
Okay. Anyways, Jesus Christ, what a stupid round of poker.
This is how we get the viewer to watch the video instead of just listening to it.
No one's watching this garbage. Anyways, Caesar says, how are your war preparations? And the advisor's like, we're not prepping for war. And Caesar's like, oh, you better be, because I know that there's infighting between Ptolemy, who's actually acting as the ruler right now, and Cleopatra. And the advisor tries to downplay the Cleopatra stuff. Eventually, Caesar says, well, while I'm here, why don't you go ahead and hand over Pompey? And so out trots, they bring out Pompey's head and just put it on a platter in front of Caesar. And
Well, they're like, oh, we have a great gift for you. You're gonna love this.
Yeah,
And you can
what
see
Caesar-
Caesar's eyes when he sees this big jar coming over to him. He already knows what's inside. Like he already knows.
And
He
goes,
put enough heads into jars. He knows what's up.
he says, shame on the Ptolemy family, shame. And they're like, everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, he was your enemy. He was your enemy. We thought you'd be
He was a
happy."
proconsul of
Yeah,
Rome.
Caesar screams like he was a proconsul of Rome, like, to die like a lowly thief like this. Fuck all of you. Basically, it does not go well.
No.
There's numerous scenes of Caesar interacting with the royal family. I'm probably going to like mix these up or get them out of order.
Yelling at that little kid, telling him to sit down and shut up.
Yes. So like, I'm gonna just state what I remember happens, and you guys tell me if I've got these out of order. Later on, Caesar has plans to find Cleopatra and support her claim for the throne. He's in a meeting with the bookkeeper and Mark Antony, and they're all like, all right, well, war's over. We got what we needed in Egypt. Let's go home. And Caesar says, no, I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to mediate the disagreement between Ptolemy and Cleopatra, which of course actually means he's just going to wholeheartedly throw his support behind Cleopatra.
And a few other things.
Yeah, he's going to throw several things at Cleopatra. And so the bookkeeper and Mark Antony are like, what, you're going to do fucking what now? And Caesar's like, Mark Antony, you're going to take half the men I have with me and take them home and, spread the word of Caesar. And Mark Antony's like, we're not actually done with the war yet. Cato and Scipio are still out there. And Caesar's like, yeah, it's fine. Fuck him. I'm going to win. And so he sends him home. So Caesar, with
Well, I love that quote.
And Mark Antony is again not happy.
But I love that quote. I think it's Mark Antony. He was like, some people might call it hubris. and Caesar's like, it's only hubris if I lose. And I'm just like, that's a really good fucking quote.
Yeah, kudos to the writers. Caesar is going to stay
not
behind.
last two episodes' writers, but this episode's writer.
Caesar and half of his men are going to stay behind in Egypt to support Cleopatra. Mark Antony is going to go home with the other half of Caesar's men and either, be in charge of Rome or maybe get ready to fight the other remaining Roman Senate generals or whatever.
If I was Mark Antony, I'd be terrified to get back on a boat.
You're not wrong. It's not worked out well for him.
That's not inaccurate.
But anyway, so once again, Caesar, this is the second time in the show now where Caesar has separated himself from Mark Antony and told Mark Antony, "Hey, go run Rome. I'm going to do my own thing." Caesar wants to rescue Cleopatra, and so we get a scene where the Egyptian supervisors are like, fuck it, we gotta kill Cleopatra. We hope that something will be able to work out, but she gotta fucking die. Meanwhile, Caesar is telling the two heroes of the show, Varinus and Titus Pullo, I want you to find Cleopatra and bring her to me.
Yes, use your magical plot armor and find her.
and there's a point. There's a shot that I really liked where Varinus is looking very downtrodden before Caesar, and he's like, "I want to apologize for what happened with Pompey. If I had done my duty," and Caesar just cuts him off. Is like, "Yep, indeed, you should have done your duty. Dismissed. Go find Cleopatra." There's another great scene where Caesar is once again meeting with the Egyptian I don't know, supervisors, delegation, whatever. And so Caesar's like, I'm here to collect the debt that you owe Rome.
You owe us a lot. You owe 17 million space bucks.
And the Egyptians are like, we can't possibly do that. Our tax collection has not been working well because that dastardly Cleopatra has been riling up the masses. And Caesar's like, oh, don't worry, I'll deal with Cleopatra. But I don't want to be. I don't want to be, a bad guy here. I want to be reasonable. So let's
negotiate this down to 10 million space.
10 million space bucks, and the Egyptians are like, it'll take days to collect even that amount. And Caesar's like, that's fine. That'll give me time to, negotiate peace between you and Cleopatra. So what's going on with Cleopatra? Well, some of the Egyptian council's men have been sent out to kill Cleopatra. So there's we got to get rid of her. We can't have her here anymore. And so she's going to die. But we get introduced to Cleopatra. She's chained to a bed. She's just smoking out of a pipe. She is super horny, super drugged up. And in come the Egyptian guys are going to kill her. She's about to be executed, but then here comes hero of the show, Titus Pullo, to save her.
Yes.
So Pullo and Varinus rescue Cleopatra. Cleopatra is immediately like, I need to have a baby with Caesar. Clearly, that's what's meant to happen here. I need to, throw my bloodline in with Caesar, and take it from here. Hang on. Something's happening. Something's happening. Everyone lost.
Well, somebody had to win. It's just motherfucker with this stupid this corn-looking motherfucker.
7-2 offsuit, motherfuckers! I busted out. I went all in with 40,000 caps on that for the bit. You are welcome. I did call him caps. I went all in with a 7-2 offsuit and lost $30,000.
Matt, I haven't seen you go all in for anything, so I'm starting to believe that you're getting 7-2 offsuit and you're not committing to the bit, because Steve and I have both busted out.
I just haven't gotten one yet.
Look at Matt and all of his luck over there not getting 7-2 offsuits. Fuck you. Jesus. Anyways, Cleopatra is decided, I am going to, throw my lot in with Caesar. Yeah, I'm gonna marry him. I'm gonna be another wife. I'm gonna have his babies, and then the queen of Egypt will be, will share a son with the emperor of Rome. All of this is going to be good. But, Cleopatra, she's real fucking horny. And so she sends her main slave out to Varinus and Pullo. And she looks them over a little bit, and she's kind of like, Varinus, you'll do. So they bring Varinus in, and they tell Varinus to fuck Cleopatra. And he tries to resist, but then he's all about it for like half a second, but then he stops himself. He's like, no, I can't do this.
Look at him being a real homie, being a real
Don't forget. Way back when Caesar first gave Varinus this task, he's like, you must
within
do
order.
Whatever she says within reason. Like, you just got to follow whatever command that she gives you with it, because she's royalty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Speaking of Varinus and his wife, I don't remember if it's this episode or the previous episode, but we missed a scene where basically Niobe makes up with her sister. Like, her sister shows up and is like, you're all I have. I don't want to lose you. They cry together. Yeah. They're sisters again. Like,
because Niobe thinks Varinus might be dead.
Yes, for the second time. So anyways,
he doesn't realize he has the plot armor.
So Varinus is like, no, I can't do this. This is not my way. And so they send Varinus out, and Varinus leaves. And he's like, Pullo, get in there. And Pullo's like, what are you talking about?
Titus Pullo!
Titus Pullo, report for duty. Get in there. And Titus Pullo goes in there, and Pullo fucks the shit out of Cleopatra.
As I alluded to in the past episode, I like to think this is Varinus, like not just taking liberties with his friend. No, this is him that's like, you know what? I did him wrong in the last episode. I'm gonna throw him this one.
Well, remember when Pullo saves Cleopatra, he's hanging out with Varinus. He's like, "Oh man, she wants me. She was wet as October. You should have seen her face when I killed that guy." And Varinus is like, "She's royal. She's a princess. Keep your dick away from her." And then multiple times during this, Pullo's like, "I'm not stupid. Don't worry. I'm not stupid."
And the entire point of this, by the way, is she feels that she is fertile now. She wants to have a baby that she can claim as Caesar's, regardless of whether or not it is. But Pullo...
But she has to fuck Caesar, too, because she tells her I can't remember what that name of that lady is, but her servant lady, her main servant lady, she's like, if I don't fuck Caesar, I'm dead. Because she's like, how do you even know Caesar's going to be interested in you? She's like, he has to. I have to give him some great pussy. Otherwise, I am dead.
Yeah. But before that, she gives Pullo some great pussy. Again, Pullo is all about it. So Pullo comes out of the tent, and he's just like, he's got this big fucking smile on his face. He's like,
he's just sitting there like, wow. Oh, God, what an order. Vernon's like, shut up. I don't want to hear that. You're in here. You're in here right now, gloating with your smelly, sticky dick. I just don't want to hear about any of this. And Polo's just like, oh, you should have seen, that was incredible. You can't talk about this to anybody. Oh, I know. That was great. Smell my fingers.
They showed more of this animalistic, crazy sex scene than they did the fucking battle in the last episode.
Well, to be fair, one of them is probably significantly easier to film.
True. I think worth it. In this is one instance, I think it was worth it.
This scene is hilarious, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It undid a lot of the damage that last episode did for me. It's like, yeah, Titus and Varinus are back, baby. Woo!
Yeah, it's like
great. A lot of goodwill brought back with this scene.
So something that I think happened prior to this that I skipped over is the Egyptian ministers or whatever are trying to find a way to fuck with Caesar. They tell two of the delegates tell the third one, it's like, hey, rally the Egyptian people, and we're gonna kill Caesar. And he's like, no, I'm not about that. And then they kind of like challenge him, like, oh, do you think you're not up to the task? And he says, I could rally them with just a word. And they're like, okay, well, we'll do it then, make it happen. By the way, can I borrow?
Sorry, go ahead.
Can I borrow your can I borrow your little advisor guy there that's hanging out with you? Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, the context of this is when why did I fold that? Oh my god, I'm not paying any attention. That was dumb. Shit. The context of this is when Julius Caesar told Mark Antony to like go back to Rome. They claim, I think they mentioned 400 troops in the actual episode. I think it was actually like 4,000 Romans were there. But in the episode, there's only 400 dudes. That's all that Caesar has. And historically, this random Egyptian guy number 3, whatever his name was, with the goofy headdress, he actually raised 20,000. A force of 20,000.
I hope this guy is
dudes.
Also going all in with a 7-2 offsuit.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like this guy knows what's up. He's got the 7-2. Or is that what you threw away, Matt? Did you have a 7-2 and threw it away?
No. I had 2 8s. I had a pair of 8s, which I would have 2 pair right now, but regardless. And so one thing I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but another thing I think that this was as egregiously bad as the last episode is, again, the quote-unquote battle. Like, we will see what happens.
He went all in for a pair?
2 pair.
Someone's got 3 of a kind, 2s.
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, it's
yeah.
you. Oh,
4 house bitches.
Well, hang on, Matt. I think I know what you're getting at, so let me fill in the blanks before we get there. The delegate number 3 is told, hey, delegate number 3, you go like rally the Egyptian people. Let me borrow your helper there. And so the helper is the guy that killed Pompey. And earlier on, Caesar's like, deliver me the man that killed Pompey. And so this guy has no idea that demand was met. So delegates 1 and 2 are like, hey, Pompey murderer, we need you to do something. And so they send this guy to deliver a note to Caesar. And the note to Caesar is, the person that handed you this note is the guy that killed Pompey. And so it's just like hilarious, but also what a bitch move. So bookkeeper reads this note out, and then all of them like slowly look at Pompey's murderer. And
they all take a step towards him.
And they all take a step towards him, and then they just cut to Roman soldiers
on a pike,
taking his head and putting it on a spike outside the building. Such a bitch move, but also fucking hilarious. Anyways, so after all that, so the delegate number 3 is going to rally the Egyptian people. Meanwhile, Cleopatra has been delivered to Caesar, and so now Caesar and Cleopatra are kind of confronting the Egyptian royal court, and
when she's delivered, because Venus and Pullo kind of have her like in a bag, they just throw her on the ground and she pops out of it, and Caesar's like smitten. That's based on kind of like historical fact. I think allegedly, who knows, people writing these things thousands of years ago, how much is actually true and whatnot, but she was apparently snuck in like a carpet, like a rug, and then when they dropped the rug down in front of Caesar, she like rolled out and like presented herself, and according to ancient sources, Caesar basically fell in love with her because he was so shocked and impressed that she was able to sneak herself in through all of his guards and all of this stuff to present her. So that's why he kind of like falls for her.
Well, they're together now. They are presenting a united front to the Egyptian delegates as well as Ptolemy, and like, all of them like turn on each other. You know, it was delegate 2 that tried to fuck all of you over. Sure enough, Caesar just kills all of them. We see more heads. The heads of all of these delegates get put on additional spikes outside the wall. And then we see Caesar having a one-on-one moment with Cleopatra, and Cleopatra's like, I know that you just want me to be like the puppet queen of Egypt for you, and I'm all fucking about it. Can we fuck now? And so they fuck, and there's a fucking montage, like a fucking montage. So we see Caesar banging Cleopatra. There's another scene of Servilia banging Octavia, and meanwhile, the troops that Delegate 3 mustered are just converging outside the Egyptian palace, and
there must be at least 25 of them. It was a huge force.
Well, we should assume that there are more there, but Varenus and Pullo and the remaining like 400, or maybe it's down to 200. I don't even know. The remaining Roman
forces, like about 10.
Okay, well, the remaining forces from Rome, like, shut themselves behind some gates, and inside those gates, Caesar and Cleopatra are banging, and it looks like there's going to be a...
Not like Pullo and Cleopatra, though.
No, very, very civilized banging, missionary
very
only.
Soft. Very, very soft and not vigorous, not animalistic.
But it looks like there's supposed to be a big battle between this tiny Roman group and this massive Egyptian group. And then, Matt, what happens?
Can't wait to see the battle. And then we fast forward 9 months, and Caesarion is born.
What? 2 episodes in a row where there are supposedly these big battles that are supposed to happen, and they just cut to Caesar's victory. So there's supposed to be this big fight, and then 9 months later, Caesar and Cleopatra walk outside and present baby Caesarion, whatever his name is, to the masses. Meanwhile, back in Rome, Brutus and Cicero are talking about the fact that they've now supported Caesar after turning against him, and Cicero is really like he understands that this is the only choice he can make to save himself, but he also still really doesn't like the choice that he's had.
Brutus, this is happening right here.
But Brutus is like, nope, I went all in on Caesar. I have to support Caesar.
Oh my God!
Oh shit! You've got 3 of a kind. I don't know if that's going to help.
Don't give him an ace, please. Don't give him an ace. No, I win, right?
Maybe.
Sidepod.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I won. I pulled a Ronin. Full house, bitches.
Anyways, Caesarion.
I just realized, Matt, you've got a triple cheeseburger there. Did you put any good condiments on it, like barbecue sauce, or does that go against your religion?
No, I get them plain.
Oh, Jesus Christ! No mustard, no nothing.
No, mustard's disgusting. Gross. You eat mustard?
Anyway, in Rome that we are currently talking about.
How do you deal with him, Steve? How do you deal?
By loudly talking over him. Cicero is regretting his choice. Brutus is still all in on Caesar. Mark Antony, I think, forces them to do something in the Senate to further recognize Caesar as being in control. And Mark Antony also delivers a warning to Cicero. It's something like, hey, if you fuck with Caesar, I'm going to fucking kill you, to further keep Cicero in line.
Grabs him by the hands, and he just starts squeezing and bending. He's
going to nail the hands to the Senate wall or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He said if he does anything, he's like, because historically Cicero would basically talk shit about Mark Antony all the time in the Senate. He gives speeches on how awful Mark Antony was, and what a kind of a shitty military person he was, how he shouldn't be in charge of anything. So they hated each other from the very beginning. And so in this sequence, it's just so great because Cicero tries to leave. He's like, all right, I'm out of here. And then Mark Antony puts his leg up, and he's like, actually, and he grabs him by the hands, and he says he's going to take these soft pink hands and nail them to the Senate door or some shit like that. It's great. It's great.
So at the end,
Brutus is just sitting there. Oh, by the way, what's the good news? Oh yeah, Caesar won. Fuck you all.
So at the end of the episode is Mark Antony has delivered threats to Cicero. Caesar has won in Egypt and now has a baby. Ptolemy is dead. And potentially Titus Pullo's baby is now in line to be Emperor of Rome.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say, in my head canon, which we all know is just as valid as real canon, according to some people here, that is Titus Pullo's child in my head canon.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is when Caesar's coming out to present Caesarion, whatever, and Pullo's like, yeah, and Varenus like gives him the side eye, and Pullo looks over and you can tell Pullo's like, oh shit, that's probably my kid. That's probably my kid. Ronan, your thoughts on this? Was it any better than the last episode for you?
Well, yeah, this episode undid a lot of the damage that the last episode did. Brought back a lot of goodwill. There's some, anytime that we have like more Titus Pullo and Varenus, the episode quality goes up. And like there is still the stupid bullshit of large time skips. Spartacus had that problem as well, as we mentioned in the last episode. But I think that show was more surreal, so the time gaps didn't hurt it quite as much, I don't think. Whereas this is going for absolute realism, or it wants to present itself as that way, at the very least. And so it does hurt it more. I don't know why these shows don't want to have 9 months later, or something like put a timestamp on the bottom of the fucking screen so we know what era, what everything we're in. They just don't want to do it. But a better episode than the last one, definitely.
Steve, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this episode a lot. I obviously would have preferred to see the battle between the Romans and Egyptians, but I'm not bothered by this one because there weren't 7 previous episodes that built up to this battle. So it's just kind of like, oh, okay, they skipped over it. That's fine. Yeah, I like this one. I feel like not a lot actually happens in this. I feel like I was able to talk through it much faster than previous episodes, but I'm happy with it. Like, Titus Pullo is great. Like, all the characters in this were great. Missing battle scene didn't bother me nearly as much as the previous missing battle scene. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't love it, but I liked it.
Yeah, I like this episode a lot as well. I think that because I watched these back to back, that's what made it much more noticeable for me that the battle scene was missing. Because this is probably... I'm putting my head back to when I first watched this many, many years ago, whatever. This was probably the point when I really realized, oh, they're just not going to do battles. Like, we're never going to see a proper battle. Now, I won't spoil whether or not that's an accurate statement, but that's the feeling that I got, and I think I got it again this time, where I was just like, people, we love the intrigue of Rome and all of the backstabbing and the politics of it, and the weird cast of characters that are slimy and stuff. We all love that, but people also love the war aspect of Rome. After all, that was one of the main things that they were known for. They basically conquered the entire known world at that point in time for them. And, when you don't get to see that, it's disappointing in a way. So, again, I wanted to see how these 400, legionnaires stopped this entire, 20,000, whole city coming after them. Like, well, how? How did that happen? I didn't even get any, dirt drawing to explain in this one. It's just, it happened. Pullo and Varenus, I guess they're just blessed by the gods, and they were able to stop it from happening or something. So, Again, I agree with you, Steve, though. It's not as disappointing because there wasn't, an entire season's worth of stuff building up to it, but it was very noticeable when I watched this. I was like, oh, we're doing this again. There's just no fighting in this show.
Yeah, so they still sing songs, and there's legends of the day that Titus Pullo and Varenus and their squad of 10 Romans beat 20 angry Egyptians. It was a glorious battle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It just looks... Far be it for me to say the show looks cheap, because it doesn't. But at times, it feels
It doesn't
cheap.
And does. Yeah, it's like
because
the money went somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like you see like Ronan said, you see like 10 Egyptians walk up to this wall, and you see Pullo and Varinus kind of like behind it, and they're like, all right, fortify up. But it's like
Form
I
testudo.
need to see at least a shot of a lot more fucking extras than 10 Egyptians walking up. I'm like, I don't feel like this is it lessens the impact of it actually being a plausible battle that these Romans could lose. It's like, just spend the money and get like 1,000 extras and have them all sort of walk up, and then put the fear of God into Varinus and Pullo's face. Like, holy shit! Like, how are we going to do this?
You film it right, and you can make 50 people look a lot fucking bigger than like because you don't need you don't need a standing army of thousands of people in the in the background. Have them look through a little hole and see okay, you got 50 guys there, and behind those 50 guys are just dummies or outfits on sticks or something that just fills in the background,
like Spartacus did for the gladiator scenes and the crowd and stuff. Just kind of out of focus CG people. Just
when this show was made, was that was that really a thing? I don't know when the show was made. I don't know if CG had become kind of affordable and looked good enough at that point.
They used CG in that one shot with Pullo and Varinus floating out in the water. I don't know if you guys noticed that. There's like a close-up of them floating in the water, and then they pull back to a wide shot, and that's all CG, the water and the waves and stuff like that. So they could have done it, but again, I'm not asking for 5 minutes and showing all kinds of CG extras. Just a wide shot of all of these people coming towards, let the camera pull back away from the palace, and you just see people gathering all around, enclosing this palace or something. Just quick, 2-3 seconds.
And that is something that can be done in camera, and you don't need hundreds of thousands of extras. Fucking Hollywood movies can make a few hundred extras look like 10,000.
Yeah.
So it's that's something that could have been done, and but that's just clearly not this show's focus. That is not an aspect of the Roman story that this show cared about. Right. And that's okay once you start to accept as okay, well, now that I guess we're just not going to see that. But then also don't make two of our characters fucking members of the Roman legionary, because now we're going to expect it because they're supposed to be main combat characters and they're not.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is, if you do show a big giant battle, if you were to do Pharsalus or something, I guess the flip side of that is, if you're the creators, you're the audience is going to demand that all the time. They're going to expect every single battle that they're going to see the battle, and we don't have the budget to do every single battle. So I'm not saying that's right for them to say that. I'm going all in blind on this because I have nothing left to say about this episode. Steve, you have any final comments about this?
No, I've already talked enough about this episode. I like it. There's definitely problems, but it didn't bother me as much as the previous episode. Going all in blind.
All in. Raise. Haven't seen the cards. Don't know what I got.
As indicated by the word blind.
Hence blind, yeah.
Just reinforcing that
118,000 chips all in. I was like, I hate this guy.
Because he's
motherfucker over.
The guy with the gigantic jaw.
Yeah, Lord Farquaad.
With his fucking dreadlocks, looking like he's about to go out there and sing about his dad. So it's with a new metal band, making some booms.
I was going with the 210 Ace King. Holy shit! I have a chance.
Man, fuck.
I have no chance.
I have a chance here. This could be a massive victory. Oh no!
7? Okay. Well, you got a king. I need a 7. I need a 7.
Ace.
Oh, you got Ace King. Yeah, Matt's got this.
How much money am I gonna win here? 162,000. Thank you. Finally, I won.
Boo!
This man.
Oh, I just earned a trophy. Octagon.
Boo! Boo your trophy. Boo!
And cut.